African security experts meeting in Accra call for concerted efforts by regional security chiefs to fight terrorism. TPP representative at ongoing National Economic Forum says the new patriotic party may have a point in staying away from the event, citing lack of enough information to prepare participants. Metro Mass Transit Company aims to make it possible for its passengers to pay for their bus fares from their mobile phones by the end of the year. In business, inflation for April rises to 14.7%, the highest since April 2010. We have sports, showbiz and international news also coming up in the next 60 minutes. Stay tuned.
News at 8 with Israel Live.
Our very first story. President Mahama has described the absence of the new patriotic party at the National Economic Forum as a tragedy of a politically partisan environment, but not everyone agrees with that assertion. While some of the participants side with him, others believe it may probably be the most strategic move politically to make.
The new Patriotic Party announced its decision to boycott the National Economic Forum a day to the program. But the party's position on the economy has been articulated in different forms, with its economist and 2012 presidential candidate Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia at the top of it all. Earlier this year, he hosted a lecture at which he spelled out what he thought was wrong with Ghana's economy and what could be done. Another staunch member of the NPP, Dr. Osei, has also expressed strong views about the economy, including a move government is about to implement, retrenchment of public workers, although not exclusive to him. With these positions already made clear in public, it was perhaps surprising for people like the PNC's General Secretary Bernard Mona that the NPP did not show up at the Economic Forum.
At such crisis at any nation's history, it takes all citizens to come to rally so that we'll be able to overcome the difficulties that confront us. The news is that a certain group of our nation decided they will not be part of this. It's pretty unfortunate, and I think that why this is time for us to bring together all brains, all ideas, so that we can move our economy forward.
But financial analyst Sidney Kesley-Hayford is of the view, irrespective of the emphasis placed on a bigger national interest, dominating political undertones cannot be ruled out.
It's a political game, and that's what we are playing now. I said if I was a member of the NPP, I would never come anyway. And I'm sure if the NDC was on the other side, they wouldn't show up either. It's all a matter of strategy. Both parties want to govern the country. You cannot expect that one party will come and tell his strategy to the other party and leave that other party to implement the good strategies and then claim victory at the end of the day. It is unhuman, and I wouldn't do it. So for me, I'm not surprised they didn't come. Like I said, if I were them, I wouldn't be here myself. I'm here because I'm independent, so I can speak my mind freely.
He, however, asks independent-minded participants will not need the NPP to make their submissions. Hence, the idea by government will not be defeated.
Beyond the political game, there's an element of seriousness which is to actually fix this. And that's what those of us who are here, who are independently minded, are going to contribute our quota. We don't need people from the NPP as such to be able to say what we are going to say, because most of us could easily fall on one side or the other side. So the government will get the best knowledge and the best brains.
Gifty Andopia, Joy News, Senchi, Eastern Region.
Well, Chairperson of the Convention People's Party, Samia Yava Nkrumah, has expressed their displeasure with how political parties were engaged ahead of the ongoing National Economic Forum taking place in Akosombo. Samia Nkrumah, who is representing the TPP at the forum, unlike the NPP, says there was a need for participants to be giving some background information and ample time to prepare to contribute to the dialogue. We'll bring you her story in a bit. But staying at the forum, participants have been holding breakout sessions on day 2 of the event without the media present. The main objective has been that some form of consensus will be reached on how to transform the country's economy. Many are, however, of the opinion what is needed now is not so much a catalogue of solutions which have been discussed over and over again and left at that, but effective implementation without political bias. Gifty Ando-Apia reports most participants agree anything short of that would have amounted to a waste of time and resources.
High-profile persons laced the Economic Forum organized by the Mahama administration. It's a cross-section of traditional and religious leaders, heads of industry, entrepreneurs, bankers, economists, political players, among others. They are still locked up in closed sessions with an ultimate goal of resurrecting the country's economy. Before the forum ends, President of policy think tank Imani Ghana Franklin Kujo has a proposal.
One of the main things immediately should be done is to scrap the forex rules. Foreign exchange rules are the #1 enemy to the economy right now. Kick it away. And that's what I found a bit uncomforting when the president said they have worked. I don't think they have worked.
But to what end and what should be the game plan for implementation after this forum? Franklin Kujo believes tasking capable individuals whose particulars should be published with that responsibility is the giant step of implementation.
I think we have had a lot of strategies. We don't need any new strategy. We don't need any high-flying language. All we need is to list all the strategies, the good ones that we've had that has been proposed by various people. Let's list them. Let's rank them in order of importance. And let's put men and women who can competently help fix them there. Let's even go further and publish their names and their phone numbers and email addresses and give them money and timelines to deliver. Otherwise, we would have wasted our time here.
All right. Do you think that's enough to move us forward?
Well, it's more than enough.
For financial analyst Kisley Hayford, politicking must be well managed for an effective implementation.
I don't think that the economics are a problem. I think the political will is the challenge. We can come up with all the lofty ideas and propose very, very good law and very, very good controls. But if the political will to actually action what we say should be done is not there, it will never work. The only thing we can do here is to come up with some very, very salient implementation programs that will enable us to carry forward. And I will reiterate, if the politics is not put in check, so we can actually carry through those programs, nothing we say here will have an impact on anything we do going forward.
The participants have been divided according to the thematic areas, including restoration of macroeconomic stability to the economy, issues relating to Ghana's financial market, the long-term economic growth of Ghana, and unlocking of the potential for long-term development. For Joy News, Gifty Ando-Apia reporting.
Now return to earlier story. Chairperson of the Convention People's Party, Samia Yabai Nkrumah, is expressing some disquiet with how political parties were engaged ahead of the ongoing National Economic Forum taking place in Akosombo. Samia Nkrumah, who is representing the CPP at the forum, unlike the NPP, says there was the need for participants to be giving some background information and ample time to prepare to contribute to the dialogue.
Government has been criticized by some political parties, particularly the National Patriotic Party, for failing to provide adequate information on the forum, one of the main reasons the MPP decided to stay away. The CPP, although is attending, shares a similar opinion.
We're not properly engaged before this forum. So we have not seen any documents, and naturally that will affect our contribution. So we are here on the grounds of patriotism, to show respect for the nation, to honor the invitation, but we are not satisfied, we are not happy with the manner in which this forum was prepared or organized. I think just the mere fact of inviting chairmen, national chairmen of political parties is not satisfactory. We have our economic team, we have our full economic policies, and I think we should have been given the opportunity to present it here in full.
Samia Nkrumah also decried the country's dependence on international donors and said that that has to change.
We are calling for a complete change of direction. no prescriptions from the IMF and the World Bank and international financial institutions, but rather fully focus on how to enhance and improve our productive capacities, industrialization and building up our manufacturing base. And this cannot happen with the prescriptions that say we must implement fiscal austerity, wage freezes, retrenchment of labor, cutting on subsidies for fuel, for utilities, food. So we have a completely different approach, and we think unless the country musters up the courage to change direction, economic directions, people will continue to suffer.
Some ministers of state who are participating in the National Economic Forum have, however, challenged the claim that participants were not adequately briefed for the dialogue.
It might be wrong, it might be right. Let everybody speak. Let us discuss and reach consensus on this matter. I don't think that is exclusive. I mean, even to give information and set the agenda is to constrict and narrow discussions. This is open dialogue, and it's good to encourage it. We should even encourage the MPP to change their mind and come and sit in the dialogue.
Abigail Adumakwenchi for Joy News.
We're staying with issues having to do with economics, and the United States of America says it is not bothered about the close ties forming between China and countries in Africa. Assistant Secretary of State for African Affairs Linda Thomas-Greenfield, however, believes African governments would have to negotiate deals that will benefit their citizens when engaging China. She has been speaking in a live web chat with journalists from across the continent about the U.S.'s commitment to Africa, where terrorism also came up.
The Assistant Secretary of State for African Affairs said African governments would have to put the needs of their people first when dealing with the emerging global economic superpower.
What we say to the people of Africa is that they have to ensure that as they negotiate with the government of China, that they get the best deal possible for the people of their country. We have been working closely with the Chinese on the situation in South Sudan. China has a special envoy as well. He has been working with our special envoy because he knows that a peaceful Africa is an Africa that can prosper.
On Boko Haram and terrorism, Linda Thomas-Greenfield stressed the U.S. was working closely with Nigeria to safely bring back the abducted girls. She, however, added a regional strategy was necessary in addressing the issue and to prevent attacks from spilling into neighboring countries.
Terrorism anywhere affects people everywhere, and while we have not seen any evidence of Boko Haram in Ghana, I think it's a concern that the government of Ghana needs to have. And they, as well as we, need to continue to work on a regional strategy to address these issues.
The upcoming African Leadership Summit, she said, was not open to all governments.
There are some leaders who have not been invited because they are either not in good stead with the AU, because they've had coups. Egypt is one of those countries. Or there are countries that are not in good standing with the United States, either because we have sanctioned them or we do not have a bilateral relationship with them. And you know what those countries are: Zimbabwe, Eritrea, and Sudan.
The U.S. says it is committed to pursuing peace, prosperity, and growth on the continent.
Meanwhile, West African security experts are asking for concerted efforts from regional security chiefs to fight terrorism. Speaking to Joy News on the Boko Haram insurgency, they say the issue transcends borders and that Nigeria needs support from neighboring countries. The experts are currently in Accra attending a meeting of civil society groups on peace and security in Africa.
The subject of terrorism has taken center stage in the West African sub-region since Nigerian Islamist group Boko Haram intensified its attacks on civilians, killing thousands. There's been massive international outcry since the group abducted over 200 girls in the northeast of the country. The meeting of security experts organized by the West African Network for Peace Building is to solicit views from experts on ways of dealing with terror on the continent. Tell Joy News a lot more needs to be done.
I think it's a very complex issue. It's important that we allow the national institutions that are mandated to address this, together with the international institutions that are mandated, such as ECOWAS, that are mandated to address this.
Is what is happening to Nigeria now and is going to move forward to other regions. So unless we all come together as one country to deal with this issue, we will not solve it. So you've seen that there is a connection between the Libyan situation months ago to the Niger situation, to Mali situation, now reflecting into Nigeria. It can go to Senegal, move down, and even join what's happening already in Guinea-Bissau. So we may be confronted with a situation where West Africa will be assaulted from all angles.
ECOWAS has made a proactive step by developing the counter-terrorism strategy for ECOWAS. But implementation is lacking.
Feedback from the meeting would feed into the peace and security architecture of the African Union.
We'll be back with more. And leadership of the House have been taken through a national capital accounting sensitization workshop in a bid to address the environmental challenges facing the world. The sensitization workshop is also to give the legislators first-hand information on the use of natural resources and formulate laws on climate change and natural resources capital accounting.
Initiated by the Global Legislators Organization, the Speaker of Parliament said this will help deal with the identified environmental challenges.
It is worth noting that the Natural Capital Account Initiative is a laudable effort aimed at taking stock of the ecosystem services that are expended in order to produce our traditional goods and services that account for our GDP, which stock taking is consistent with the World Bank World Accounting Evaluation ecosystems.
He therefore urged the Ministers of State and all the stakeholders to fully participate in the project. Alhaji Mohammed Muntaka Mubarak, who represented the majority leader, also stressed on the need for legislators to be equipped with enough information.
If the business people who want to just exploit the natural resources, it will be extremely difficult to get them to understand that their activities are destroying the environment when they know they are making profit. So they will continue to pretend that they don't understand the issues so that they will have the opportunity to continue to exploit. That is why it is important that lawmakers, for that matter parliamentarians all around the world, who are in the front line of making laws, must understand the impact the activities that we carry around in our country, the impact that it is on our economy and our citizenry. So when we are making laws, we'll be well informed and put mechanisms and measures that will prevent the fast degradation of the environment and then the global change.
The ranking member of the committee and the vice president of Globe Ghana chapter, Francis Adenimo, said they are committed to ensuring accountability of environmental proceeds.
That so long as you have the technical knowledge on how this framework will work, for us as a nation, we will also rely on you. And any legislation that will be appropriate to be enacted by the Parliament of Ghana, that collaboration between the legislative arm and the executive arm, we can speed up.
The Deputy Minister of Environment, Science and Technology and a Member of Parliament, Benis Halu, indicated the workshop will augment the efforts of the ministry.
I must say that we are doing a lot, but much more can be done if we all see the urgency of the matter. So if legislators see the urgency of the matter, they go back to their constituencies and implement programs, then we'll be moving somewhere.
She also expressed satisfaction on the awareness created on environmental degradation.
Now, it may sound ambitious for us here in Ghana, but the Metro Mass Transit Company is aiming to make it possible for its passengers to, by the close of the year, pay their bus fares using their mobile phones and other e-payment methods. Under a new 5-year strategic plan, the company is also hoping to introduce an ICT platform to track its buses and limit the incidence of fraud perpetrated by some of its workers.
It's a 5-year strategic plan meant to revamp the operations of the Metro Mass Transit and includes improving the safety of passengers and staff, developing the customer service improvement plan, and increasing profitability and financial sustainability of the service. Officials explain, considering the numerous challenges that has plagued the operations since the service began in 2002, they will cease to exist in the next few years if drastic measures are not introduced to turn things around.
There is a point in time in the life of a bus that it doesn't make economic sense to continue to keep it because of the high cost of maintenance. Therefore, there is a board of survey that we have sent around the whole country to ask to do an assessment, a very comprehensive assessment, to find out whether it is economically viable to continue to keep those buses. Now, at the end of the day, that report we receive, we will send the report by July of this year to the board, our governing board. Once they give us the clearance to get those buses out, then those that are not economically viable to continue to keep them, then we get them out of the route, on our routes.
Officials are also banking their hopes on a new ICT-based fuel and vehicle tracking system to check fraud and make the operations more cost-friendly. As a first step, government has promised to support MMT with 200 new buses by the end of July this year to help augment its fleet whilst removing buses that are no longer roadworthy.
In terms of operations, we don't want to miss the core mission organization, that is the intra-services. Today, although we carry about almost 50% of all the passengers, but in terms of bus allocation, all about 32% is given to that. We want to move that. By the year 2018, about 40% all the buses that we have will go to the intra. Then intercity, just 28. Then rural urban is 32.
The Metro Mass itself is also seeking to procure an additional 1,000 new buses. Transport Minister Chifa Ativo called on management of the transport company to adopt good corporate governance practices to safeguard the interests of shareholders.
It's my hope and prayer that by 2018, MMT will be able to operate in all the district capitals of the country, become the most customer-friendly transport operator in Ghana, have well-trained and highly motivated staff, and attain ISO 9001 certification internationally.
Under the new 5-year plan, the Metro Mass Transit will also extend its free ride bus policy to persons with disabilities.
The Kolebu Teaching Hospital and Princess Mary Louis Hospital have each received a 1,000 watts capacity solar energy battery to serve as a backup and alternative source of energy for the operations. Care Energy Ghana Limited, a Germany-based company which manufactures the batteries, said they could supply backup power for up to 9 hours.
The 2-in-1 1,000 watt capacity solar energy battery, which comes with a solar panel, is recharged with sunlight and used at night for various purposes. According to the manufacturers who donated the batteries, it has a 25-year lifespan and depends solely on solar energy.
So normally you are at home, not at home during the day. Yeah, so you are in work or wherever, yeah, and in this time the module displayed, yeah, will reload the battery pack which is inside in this box what you saw, yeah, and this box is so constructed that it will overtake the completely night consumption from you, yeah, so you have actually 24/7 your electrical power from that module. It's very easy. You can use it in your garden. It looks like here in front of you. Can put it on the roof, on the wall. This module, the box, give inside of your household. There you can plug in everything what you're needing for a refrigerator, television.
Receiving the items on behalf of the Kolebu Teaching Hospital, Presidential Staffer in charge of Youth Enterprise Development, Kojo Asare, disclosed the group, in collaboration with government, will set up a factory in Ghana to train people in the manufacture of the solar batteries.
As a way to, affiliate ourselves with them and see if we can move on to form some kind of partnership to set up a factory to produce these panels and other accessories that come along with it. So that was why they came. But of course, in our conversation, we mentioned to them that yes, they should now announce their presence and announce their presence very well. So they did similar panels, 5 of them, meant for various institutions. Kolebu is benefiting, also the Children's Hospital, and a few others up north. I think in the northern region are also going to benefit from their benevolence, I would say.
Chief Executive Officer of the Kolebu Teaching Hospital, Reverend Albert Okpoti Botri, assured the hospital will maintain the equipment. A similar donation was later made at the Princess Marie Louis Hospital in Accra.
With me, Matilda Nyakwa Kweku. Inflation continued its steady rise, going up to 14.7% in April. Now, this represents a 0.2% increase from that of March. Although marginal, it is the highest recorded since April 2010. The Statistical Service is attributing the soaring rate to housing, water, electricity, fuel, as well as transport. The Ashanti region recorded the highest regional year-on-year inflation rate of 17.4%, while the Upper West region recorded the lowest in the month of April. Now, Finance Minister said Tekwe has defended programs instituted by government to stabilize the economy in the short term. This follows concerns by the International Monetary Fund that recent measures introduced by government to restore economic stability are not yielding the desired results. He told Joy News on the sidelines of the ongoing National Economic Forum, some of the programs usually take years to yield the desired results.
The IMF estimation at the time this report was prepared, in February, March, thereabout, it's not the same.
Okay.
As what we are going through. We are beginning to see the rains, for example, coming in. So far, they have been good. So I think we should try and put these things in context. And 2 corrections. First, cocoa prices have gone up. They are higher. They are not going down at the time, at the rate at which, you know, at the time the fund mission. And we all know that Cocoa Board, which sells futures, is going to capture cocoa prices at a much higher price. Their estimation of revenue flows, you know, is quite different. And secondly, the point I made earlier on, the trajectory for revenue will be different. The trajectory for growth itself will be different. No country, and Ghana is no exception, no country, even when it is under an IMF program, turns around its economy in 1 year. And Ghana has had IMF programs. The minimum period for the turnaround is 3 years under all the programs. You can check for yourself. The IMF occasionally does 4- or 5-year programs. For the fund to come with, you know, what is perceived, and I hope that is not your summary, that give the impression that we are embarking on a 1-year consolidation. The deficit itself, which was supposed to be 10.8 of GDP, has gone down to 10.1.
Airtel Ghana has introduced yet another product package it says should make calls from one subscriber to the other on the network virtually free. The Talk Chore Ankasa promo aims at giving subscribers the opportunity to enjoy 5 times more bonuses each day. Now, the bonus, according to Airtel, does not expire and is also not restricted to on-net use.
The network claim Talk Chow Ankasa is the first of its kind on the Ghanaian market and is targeted at satisfying the millions of customers who constantly enjoy talking at length to friends and family. At the official launch of the product at the Ring Road branch in Accra, Head of Segment and High Value Isaac Ama explained the product has been developed to satisfy the growing demands of customers to talk, chat and browse with their bonus credit. He explains the daily targets are set based on the unique usage pattern of each individual.
So you could, for example, have a target of 50 pesos. So all you need to do is use your airtime on your phone, you hit your 50 pesos target, and then you get 2 cedis 50 pesos to talk to all your contacts on the Airtel network. The good thing about this product is that terms and conditions doesn't apply because everything is open. There are no hidden charges. The only thing that is incumbent on you, our customer, is that just achieve your targets and everything else is free, 500%.
As part of its rebranding exercise across the country, Airtel Ghana opened its premier corner at the Ring Road branch, which aims at satisfying the needs of subscribers of Airtel Money.
We decided to refurbish this place based on customer feedback. So we then decided that why don't we create a dedicated space for our premier customers so that when they come they can be seen to more quickly and then they can go about doing their normal business.
Customer Experience Director Yakuba Amo assured subscribers of Airtel's commitment of providing quality service to its numerous subscribers.
Above all, for us is the quality of service that they experience when they enter our shops. Our well-trained staff are here to respond to whatever brings them to us to visit us here. We look at every stage of the customer's life and ensure that we have tailored products and services to cater for the customers.
An economist and Dean of Graduate Studies at the Methodist University College, Professor Kojo Ewusi, has concurred with the IMF about the harsh nature of the forest measures introduced by the Bank of Ghana and its deficiency in stemming the depreciation of the cedi. He said the National Economic Forum must address the review of the policy while it provides solutions to unemployment.
Economist Professor Kojo Ewusi, in reaction to the latest IMF statement on the forest measures released, indicated that the cedi had depreciated by more than 20% from January to May this year, a clear indication the Bank of Ghana forest measures are not yielding the expected results.
I think the concern should be what are the problems and what do we do about the problems, you know. But what I see is that the government is always saying that, oh, there's a light at the end of the tunnel, that things are going to get better. So I hope that this forum focuses on what are the problems facing the economy and how can these problems be solved, rather than giving this. So there are medium-term plans and all that. So if those plans are very optimistic or based on, oh, we are at the end of the journey, or then we wouldn't get, I think.
He described the IMF's 2014 projected growth rate of 4.75% as pessimistic and advised government to reduce expenditure and debt levels to revive the economy.
The debt and the debt service should be related to the total revenue, total revenue. So, yeah, definitely there should be some concern. Now, if you take external debt, for example, I mean, it really went down, especially after the epic, it went down. But it's now about 8 billion, and it is going up and up. So I think that what we have to worry about, I mean, the clear indication is that if you take the external debt, the debt servicing is really the problem. If you take it that the government floats a bond.
Professor Kojo Ewusi also advised government to move from a 3-year plan to a 5-year plan to drive Ghana's economic growth and development.
And that's all for business. Up next, the sports.
International news. Some news just coming in is that there's been an incident at one of the electricity substations here in Accra. We're joined on the line now by the head of public relations at the Ghana Grid Company, Albert Kweno. Good evening, Mr. Albert Kweno. Can you tell us what exactly is this incident and where it happened?
Good evening, Israel, and let me immediately apologize to consumers for what we're going through. We had a challenge on one of our lines, transmission lines, running into the Achimota substation, and the resultant feedback led to us losing all the generators in Tema, and therefore supply to consumers in virtually the whole of Accra and some of the surrounding communities.
Okay. What we're told is that there was an explosion or a fire. What exactly happened?
Because of the challenge we had on the line, we had flashes running on the line, and that is what people living in the area saw as, let me say, flashes and noise, and that is what people saw as fire and the explosion.
Okay. I'm sure this would have affected supply to a number of areas. Can you tell us which areas have been affected as a result of this?
It's very difficult for me to see, but virtually we've lost power supply to the whole of Accra, parts of the Aquapim range, and I think Keshin will cost them up.
Okay. And how quickly, I'm sure, how quickly can you resolve this?
We've started supplying power to consumers. I just had a text message from somebody in Tema that supply was restored in Tema about 5-7 minutes ago. It's going to be a gradual process. It will take some time for all of us to have our supply back.
Can you give some time frame, probably in the next 12 hours?
It depends on how soon we get the generators into service. The generators have started coming into service. That's why we have power in Tema at the moment. It will soon get to Accra and the surrounding community.
All right. Thank you very much. Albert Queno is the head of public...
Thank you, Israel. And let me once again apologize to consumers. We're doing everything to restore power this evening.
All right. Thank you very much. That was Albert Queno. He's the head of public relations at the Ghana Great Company. Before we move on, some other news item just in is that the Polytechnic Teachers Association of Ghana, they've just sent out this news release. They're saying they are on strike. They have declared a strike. It says, following Congress's decision at an emergency meeting held at the Accra Polytechnic on May 13, 2014, POTAG writes to inform all chapters that we are to lay down our tools and withdraw all our services with immediate effect. So this communication is going out to the chapters of POTAG. This has become necessary as a result of government's unwillingness and persistent lack of seriousness towards the payment of our book and research allowance for the 2013-2014 academic year. This stance by government is further aggravated by National Labour Commission's refusal to even acknowledge us after we had written to inform the NLC of the matter, and they go on to list the list of issues that they have. For which reason they have declared a strike. But the news is that the Polytechnic Teachers Association of Ghana has declared a strike. International news is up next.